That wasn't a beginner's piece. Now,
It wasn't.
there's almost a national shortage of organists, yes. How are you going to recruit some more?
We have already started recruiting more. We sent out about 350 starter packs, and the success of the campaign this far is largely thanks to the work of the local organist associations who've staged all sorts of events. And
Peterborough finding out, among other things, how the city will be affected by its planned Channel Tunnel link. The Princess seemed to be impressed, notwithstanding the fact that the Prince of Wales is on record as being troubled by the whole tunnel project. Prince Charles wasn't in Peterborough. He had engagements at Cromer in North Norfolk. So 2 big royal occasions in the region. We have reports on each.
The Princess of Wales was whisked to Peterborough Cathedral to start her first official visit to the city after landing by helicopter at the East of England Showground. She joined a 1,000-strong congregation at a service to mark World Leprosy Day. The Princess is patron of the leprosy mission based in Peterborough. She dispelled much of the stigma surrounding the disease when she visited a mission hospital in Indonesia.
This really does heighten the profile and the need of leprosy victims worldwide, so it's very thrilling for us.
Then it was on with what for many was the highlight of the visit, the walkabout. The Princess shook hundreds of hands along the 300-yard route to her next stop, the Peterborough Eurotunnel exhibition in the Town Hall. Thousands of people lined the streets, windows and balconies to catch a glimpse of the Princess, who was sometimes swamped by police officers. But such was the warmth of the Peterborough welcome, even the police found themselves carrying a different burden of responsibility. The Princess's guide through the exhibition was a British Rail engine driver, also known as council leader Charles Swift. The event is an important one for the city and involved British Rail and French Railways. The Princess took a special interest in the model trains, so she could tell royal rail buffs Princes William and Harry all about them. The Princess's hectic schedule took her to Thorpe Hall in Peterborough. This Grade 1 listed building has been restored and converted into a Sue Ryder home for cancer patients. She left a memento of her visit, a striking signed portrait. Then it was on to what the Princess enjoys most, meeting young people. The pupils of the King's School in Peterborough are commemorating the school's 450th anniversary.
Needless to say, we're all absolutely delighted. The pupils are thrilled to bits, very excited. And it's really very much the icing on the cake.
And having seen the pupils' academic and athletic prowess, the finale of the visit featured a display of dance.
Meanwhile, Prince Charles has also been in the region today, officially opening North Norfolk District Council's new offices in Cromer. A large crowd welcomed the Prince as he arrived and went on an impromptu walkabout. But there was also a protest from a group of 20 demonstrators. They were complaining at the £4.5 million price tag for the 2-storey building, which they claim would have been better spent on providing council houses. The Prince of Wales was given a full tour of the building, meeting staff at all levels. As a keen gardener who's been known to talk to his own flowers at Highgrove, he took a particular interest in the plants spread around the building at a reported cost of £40,000. He then addressed councillors, and after the controversy surrounding his entry into architectural arguments, he was cautious in his remarks about their new building.
The conclusion nowadays is much easier to restrict my comments about buildings to... So I won't disappoint you, except there's the most interesting building.
He then unveiled a commemorative plaque, being noticeably careful with the arm he broke in a polo accident last year. He then left, taking time out to talk to the protesters waiting outside.
A royal day to remember at Peterborough and Cromer.
In a moment.
Improved links with Europe with the opening of an ambitious Channel Tunnel exhibition. Distinguished guest on the opening day was the Princess of Wales. Council leaders hope thousands of special visitors will follow in the royal footsteps when the channel opens in 1993.
Trains have been arriving at Peterborough Station for decades, and the town's civic fathers feel it has every right to be at the birth of the latest railway venture, the Eurotunnel. This is the high-speed train developed by France, Belgium and Britain that Peterborough is confident will deliver new Euro prosperity to its doorstep. The council organised Eurotunnel exhibition was graced on its opening day by a seasoned royal traveller, the Princess of Wales, who was carrying out a series of engagements in the town. But what will be the benefits?
In many ways, in industry and commerce and in tourism, of course, but local high-tech industries, of which there are many in areas like Peterborough, Norwich, Cambridge, will obviously benefit from this improved communications with mainland Europe.
The French railway SNCF, who have spent billions of francs developing their Très Grande Vitesse or TGV high-speed trains, have brought their impressive sideshow to Peterborough.
It's true that when the tunnel will open, the high-speed line on the French side will be completed when the high-speed line from the tunnel to London won't be yet. But we are hopeful with British Rail that this new line will be done and to bring the same quality of service on both sides of the channel.
The exciting thing for us is that this is drawing to the public's attention what railways are doing on the continent and how public investment is put into railways, financial support to keep the fares down, to make more trains run safer, cleaner trains. And I think British Rail would like to do that here. And I'm sure it would be a benefit to the whole of the community. And this actually makes it a graphic illustration of what can be done if we take railways seriously.
In its defence, British Rail says it's investing £1.3 billion on improved rail links, including a new-look King's Cross. Peterborough is confident with its French connections, its twinned with Bourges, and its railway history, the town's link with the Eurotunnel will be well worth keeping a close eye on.
With a packed itinerary, she joined the King's School's 450th anniversary celebrations, saw the work of the new Sue Ryder home at Thorpe Hall, and visited the city's Channel Tunnel exhibition. But that's not all, as Anne Scott reports.
The Princess of Wales was whisked to Peterborough Cathedral to start her first official visit to the city after landing by helicopter at the East of England Showground. She joined a 1,000-strong congregation at a service to mark World Leprosy Day. Then it was on with what for many was the highlight of the visit, the walkabout. The Princess shook hundreds of hands along the 300-yard route to her next stop, the Peterborough Eurotunnel exhibition in the Town Hall. Thousands of people lined the streets, windows and balconies to catch a glimpse of the Princess, who was sometimes swamped by police officers. But such was the warmth of the Peterborough welcome, even the police found themselves carrying a different burden of responsibility.
Finally,
it's been hard at work in our region again today. This morning in Peterborough, this afternoon in Luton.
Despite the miserable weather, the crowds flocked to greet the Princess Royal as she arrived at the Peterborough Centre of Sense, the National Deaf Blind Rubella Association. She was here to open 2 new group homes, an important expansion of the centre which has been in Peterborough for 10 years. 11 people will stay in the new homes. Still in Peterborough, the Princess went on to visit the Alton Family Centre. It supports families with young children, offering playgroups, counselling and mother and toddler groups. 250 families are catered for here. For the past 5 years, it's been given funding by the Save the Children Fund, of which the Princess is the president. She dedicated a mobile toy library, which will serve villagers to the south of Peterborough. In the afternoon, the Princess travelled to the Puttridgebury Conference Centre in Luton, attending the meeting of the Rural Housing Trust, of which she also is a president. The Princess followed in the steps of her great-grandfather, George V, by planting an English oak in the grounds. The same task had been performed by the
Peterborough. In a full day, she saw a number of projects associated with 2 of her main interests, children and the handicapped. Despite the rain, a cheery group of children from local infant schools turned out to greet the royal visitor. As patron of SENSE, the National Deaf, Blind and Rubella Association, the Princess had come to Peterborough to open 2 of their group homes at Newton Court. Here, one of the residents presented her with the first of the day's many bouquets. The Save the Children Fund is another of the Princess's interests, and across the city she came to open a playroom extension at the Alton Family Resource Centre. The centre was established in 1982 with money from the fund to provide a wide range of support for families of children under 5. Alton has twice the national average number of under-5s and twice the number of single-parent families. Naturally, the press were on hand, but some were more pressed than others by the end of the day.
Could do with a bit of ironing, that particular
Crime has officially opened in Peterborough.
The National Children's Home's Peterborough Community Prevention Project will work with children from 5 to 16 who are in danger of breaking the law.
Juvenile crime such as joyriding is rarely out of the news these days, with some members of the public and politicians pushing for tougher punishments for offenders. The Peterborough Project's an innovation because it works with children to prevent them ever embarking on a life of crime.
Basically, we will take referrals from anybody for youngsters who are at risk of offending or at risk of coming into care. We will even take referrals from the youngsters themselves. If a youngster feels he's been pressurised into offending, we will offer him some advice, some support to drive or divert him away from that.
Project leaders say there are many reasons why children become involved in crime: peer pressure, trouble at home or in school. But by far the majority commit offences because they simply haven't thought of the consequences. In Peterborough, they're forced to do so by playing the roles of offender and victim.
We gave them an example of a youngster who took a car, and we based it locally, although the actual offence we modelled on came from Leeds, I think. We based it locally and said a youngster's driven a car into the local shopping centre and hit a youngster, a 5-year-old girl, I think it was. You know, take it from there.
And what was the outcome of that?
The youngster who took on the role of the actual offender was sentenced far more harshly by the youngsters themselves than by the court.
The project has the support of Peterborough Police, who made more than 1,000 juvenile arrests in 1992 and estimate 1/5 of all detected crime is committed by juveniles.
For years now it's been a case of, well, we pick up the pieces afterwards, and really that isn't good enough. We want to get in there beforehand and divert these children's attention from crime, putting them into something constructive.
The project also employs young people as sessional workers, believing they're in a better position to influence children.
I feel that the children will be able to relate to me more, being a similar age, and I will have experienced things that they've experienced or are experiencing at the moment, so I think it'll be a benefit.
The NCH project, which is also funded by Cambridgeshire Social Services, will operate for now in the Ortons area of Peterborough, but leaders hope it'll be expanded across the city soon. Success will be hard to measure since the project deals with prevention, but if one child is steered away from crime, the work will have been worth it.
Anne Scott reporting. Still to come, soccer and the East Anglian derby that dashed Norwich City's championship hopes and ensured Premier League status for Ipswich.
And as spring gives way to summer, weathermen warn, enjoy it while it lasts.
Beacon TV Guide win a trip to Australia and a part in Neighbours. Come inside your TV Guide.
At 10:35 tonight, The Nuclear Age chronicles the Reagan administration's development of the Strategic Defence Initiative, known as Star Wars. The Nuclear Age in 35 minutes. You're watching Anglia Television. The news now from ITN.
Two senior Ulster policemen are murdered returning from the south. Mr. Yeltsin's juggernaut rolls and the party's worried in Moscow. More aircraft bombs are expected, more explanations are demanded. Mr. Kinnock tells how he will help private enterprise. And a cameraman's pictures before he died in El Salvador. Good evening. The IRA said tonight it murdered two senior police officers. They've been found shot dead in a car in South Armagh near the Irish border. The officers have been named as Chief Superintendent Harry Breen and Superintendent Bob Buchanan. They are the most senior policemen to have been killed by terrorists. They were returning in plain clothes in an unmarked police car from a cross-border meeting with senior Irish police in Dundalk. Security sources said tonight the men would usually have been accompanied to the border before driving alone to Fork Hill, where normally they would have picked up an escort. But instead their car was found in Jonesborough, just 300 yards inside the border.
The Cavalier car containing the bodies of the 2 RUC officers was found just 300 yards from the Irish border in Jonesborough. Chief Superintendent Harry Breen, a divisional commander in Newry, and Superintendent Bob Buchanan had been meeting officers from the Irish police south of the border in Dundalk. They'd been discussing extra protection for the Dublin to Belfast railway line, which has been continually attacked by the IRA since December. As a huge security operation blanketed Jonesborough, it's still not clear if the men were ambushed here. They would have had an escort from Dundalk to the border, but local sources say they were unprotected once they were in South Armagh. Another aspect of concern is why they were apparently using an isolated country road in so-called bandit country.
In the north.